Blog Talk Radio.
Namaste, hello everyone. It is Nature of Reality Radio on November 5th, 2014. This is your host, Andrew Fisher, broadcasting every Wednesday from the suburbs of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today on the show, to expose the true and false nature of reality for what it is and what it isn't, as I like to say, we will have Ray Kosulandich, excuse me for not being able to pronounce his name right. Let's say that again, Ray Kosulandich. He did interviews with Alfred Weber and Elizabeth Mulligan, both of whom were guests on previous shows of mine, to talk about 32 ET races. Ray is a multi-general ET contactee whose family ET contacts span his grandfather, father, and himself. And again, he's best known for his interview with Alfred Weber, in which he discussed those 32 species of aliens, as well as, I didn't listen to the Elizabeth Diamond, as she likes to be called, interview, but I know it's there. If you go to the Elizabeth Mulligan YouTube channel, you will find that, where he did a longer interview with her, about 3 hours, on like a 2-hour interview with Alfred, where they talk about 32 species that we will not be going into entirely all 32 species. There are some other things I want to discuss with him, but there are some species I do want to talk about, like reptilians. And if we are out of questions, I might resort to that to get more questions in. But again, those interviews are for anybody who wants to listen to it. And Kosulandich has also indicated that he is visited and briefed on a regular basis by 4 ETs he calls his Fabulous Four. And I do have a link to the page where the web page where you can find those 32 ET races. This is strictly an audio show, so I cannot show them on the screen. But then again, there is the website in the video description if you guys want to follow along when we go along with when we discuss those specific extraterrestrials. He's not in the queue yet, but that's okay, because first we're going to start with the news, courtesy of Alex Jones and Company at InfoWars. First article, Wendy Davis supporter deletes tweet calling for mass infanticide. Twitter user goes ape after embarrassing Democrat loss. Yes, abortion. It's a debatable issue. I mean, personally, I am anti-abortion, but not strictly speaking anti-abortion, in the sense that I would certainly advocate a woman who doesn't want to keep her baby to take adoption instead of abortion. But if a woman wanted to have an abortion, I would certainly not use that as an excuse to unfriend her if she was a friend of mine, and I'd be willing to help her all the way, even though I don't necessarily support what she is doing. But deleting a tweet calling for mass infanticide, yeah, I do think that's not protected by free speech. Defamation and stuff like that is not free speech. You do not have the right to defame people in false ways. Next article, elections reveal decline of radical politics. In a single night, voters disown race-baiting politics promoted by Democrats for decades. Well, I bet the Republicans promoted race-baiting as well, but probably not as bad as Democrats. I don't really know too much about what happened last night in election night. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm more concerned about making the people understand that they control the politicians in government, regardless of whoever the politicians are, because the people created the government. I get emphasis on the people created the government, yes. And that means we will always have more authority than the government, and we outnumber them. And didn't really matter to me who won the election because, well, they all have the same agenda. Well, not all, even the good guys. Well, the good guys, the problem is, can you call them good if they go along to get along with the other evil politicians? I don't know. Maybe you have to sympathize with them, because in some sense they might say they have no choice. Well, whether or not they have no choice is debatable. But anyway, enough of that. Moving on. Ron Paul, two-party monopoly must be infiltrated with ideas. Ron Paul says they claim it's two parties, but it's a monopoly of one-party system. Yes, Ron Paul, he made it clear he understands that there is a new world order, and the people at the top of that new world order are extraterrestrials. Not that Ron Paul acknowledged that. He didn't. No, I'm saying that is the case. We have to realize that. We'll discuss some of that in this interview with Ray Kosulandich today. And this whole thing about a two-party monopoly, yeah, that's right. I did read Jesse Ventura's book, Demo Crips and Republicans, so I know what it's like. It's a two-party system that they duke it out like gangs, but it is monopoly because they're controlled by the same corporate special interests and such. So, Ron Paul, thank you for acting like you understand what's going on. Our next article, just a thing about a video. Video, it says, freedom grows out of the barrel of a gun. Free men and women ought to be armed. Well, of course we ought to be armed because, as Alex Collier said, that his ET contacts told him, they told him, and again, these ET contacts have told him this, if you lose the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, you lose everything else. Need I say more? So make sure we don't lose the right to bear arms, because if they take the guns, they can take everything. And the Second Amendment was put in the Constitution so we could protect ourselves from tyrants in government. Special report, next article. You didn't build that 2.0. If it's one thing Americans know, it's hard work. Yeah, Obama, he said, you didn't build that. We created the government, dumbass, so of course we built that, if that is the thing that you are working for, the thing being a government, or should I say a corporation that masquerades as a government. Does Obama really think we're that stupid? I can't wait till the documentary Obama Deception 2 comes out. It should have come out a long time ago, but I guess the people at InfoWars, they have other things they want to put in there, and they think maybe it's not the time to release it yet. Whatever the case may be. Next article. Will Republicans impeach Barack Obama? Another ominous example of why the two-party monopoly is failing America. Yeah, they duke it out like gangs, and they want to impeach a president that's not part of their political party, even though they have the same agenda, but they're not smart enough to realize they have the same agenda in the end. Well, maybe they do, but they still feel like duking it out like gangs, like the Crips and the Bloods. So, will they impeach Barack Obama? Will it really matter, because his replacement will be a puppet as well? Next article, Freedom versus Tyranny, top 6 Ebola poster contest entries. Oh, yeah, that contest, I did enter that, all about exposing how Obama, the CDC, and the WHO, the World Health Organization, know all about the conspiracy to poison people with Ebola, a virus that was definitely genetically engineered in labs, and definitely is designed as part of a plot to depopulate the earth. The Ebola is. Yeah, so let's try not to get sick, and let's realize that they are taking asinine steps to keep us safe. They always say, you must give up your rights to stay safe. Well, why are you trying to keep us safe from Ebola? Because they're trying to poison us. Our next article, election win. McCain will head up Senate's Armed Services Committee. Boots on the ground in Syria and military support for Ukraine. Yeah, McCain, he would do that. There was a picture of him with someone from ISIS, also known as Al-Qaeda. They're the same thing, ISIS and Al-Qaeda. A picture of him with an Al-Qaeda head not that long ago. Oh my God, can you get any more embarrassing? And in the government, can you get any more in your face obvious that you're a fraud, and yet people, they don't act like they understand this? Makes me really sad. But hopefully Ray is in the queue, and he is not. Okay, folks, give me a second here. I got to get on Facebook to try to contact Ray. I'm about to send him a message. Still not there. I told him I cover news for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Letting him know now. All right, he got the message. Hopefully he'll be calling in any second. But while we're waiting, let's talk about some of these ET races that I want to talk about. The reptilian race. That one you definitely got to talk about, because they are said to be at the top of the malevolent alien ladder of authority. And, well, some might debate that. Some might say the Anunnaki from Nibiru are the ones at the top of the ladder of authority, but the reptilians, they want to take over the planet, and a lot of their bases have been destroyed, as Andromeda Council contactee Tolek has discussed, and in his interviews with Alfred Weber. Like that earthquake that we had in 2011 that cracked the top of the Washington Monument. That was actually no accident earthquake. That was the Andromeda Council, or some higher dimensional benevolent ETs knocking out a reptilian base underneath the Earth. And some of the other underground and underwater bases have also been shut down. All right. Hope this won't take much longer. I hope this isn't a time zone issue, because I remember what happened with another one of my guests, not going to name names here, who was not able to make the first time I tried to get him on the show because of time zone conflict. But he is, I believe, in St. Louis. Yeah, he's from St. Louis. He wears a St. Louis Cardinals hat. So I guess we'll talk about more aliens now. Yeah, about the reptilians, one more thing. There's 18 species of reptilian alien affecting life on Earth, and only one is evil. That one race that is evil has branched off into clone species from Draco, Hydra, Sirius B, and the Sirius B ones, they're actually somewhat aquatic. And the Hydra ones, well, the Draco ones are warriors. And the Hydra ones, they have more to do with our mind control and such, I believe. I think it was Silver Legion contactee Tanath who told us that. And what else do I want to say? Well, let's move on to the Orion Greys. The Orion Greys, they are subordinate to the Draco Reptilians. There was a treaty that really got the thing going between the Greys and the Reptilians. This treaty was, according to Laura Eisenhower, it was taking place during the time of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but it got really serious during the presidency of Dwight Eisenhower. And well, John Lear told me that the Greys, they're just robots. They basically just take orders, or a cross between a robot and a plant, and they would take orders from their reptilian masters and sign this treaty to, I think it was about exchanging technology and such. And just bear with me, folks. I have to crisscross through here a little bit here between Facebook and my show. I wonder why he said he'd be there. Said right there he'd be there. So I don't know why he isn't responding. But so long as I'm still waiting, these Orion Greys, they actually don't look like the stereotypical gray that we have with big almond eyes and such. They actually have more like humanoid eyes, and I believe they're not very tall. They're like 4 feet tall, I believe. And there's also the Zeta Greys. I'll try, if Ray calls in, I'll try to talk about the Zeta Greys and what they're all about. I don't even have anybody in the chat room either. Okay. I hope he's all right. I would, if he doesn't call in, I'll probably just, in the next, I'll give him another 15 minutes. If he doesn't call in 15 minutes, I guess we'll postpone this show and try to get him on at another time. He did give me his email. He didn't give me his email. He did give an email address at the end of a recent interview he did in a roundtable discussion. But I didn't get that email. I wish I did, because I could probably contact him and see what's going on here. So, moving on to the Zeta Greys. Now, that ties in directly with Bob Lazar's work, you would think, because Bob Lazar talked about gray aliens from Zeta Reticuli, and he revealed the technology that they use. The technology, what do you call it? The element 115, yeah, element 115, where you bombard the element 115 with element one with microscopic particles to bump it up to element 116. That's the number of protons in the atom. Decays that releases energy, which can move space-time towards you to allow you to move a great distance. And John Lear, in my interview with him, talked about how the Zeta Greys, they could use the technology, the element 115 technology, to travel many, many light years in a short period of time. In like the 39 light year distance from Earth and Zeta Reticuli, they could travel that in about 34 hours, something to that effect, he said. So still no response from him. So what other aliens can I talk about here? Oh yeah, the Anunnaki from Nibiru. They a lot of debate there, because some people thought that Zecharia Sitchin was a fraud. Well, he's not a fraud, and I guess I'll, just to pass the time, I'll discuss this and how I know it, but first I need to get a drink of water here. Some people think Zecharia Sitchin was a fraud because Leo Zagami, former 33rd degree Freemason turned whistleblower, in his Project Camelot interview, said that Sitchin was an Illuminati disinfo agent, and the Vatican helped him write his work. And Arizona Wilder, in her interview with David Icke in David Icke's documentary Revelations of a Mother Goddess, said that Zecharia Sitchin was a shape-shifting reptilian alien, and his job was to disinform about the reptilians and the Illuminati, to which David Icke replied that would explain why Sitchin warned him never to say anything about reptilian aliens in his work. And a lot of people took that as meaning that Zecharia Sitchin is definitely a fraud. Well, I'm going to tell you folks right now, sorry if you see me blocking, it's just that kind of can't help but worry about Ray, because he assured me he'd be there. And I told him 5 to 10 minutes I would cover news. It's, whatever the case may be. Let me move on by saying that Andrew Bartzis, in his Creating 5D interview on the Creating 5D YouTube channel, he also uploaded on his Galactic Historian YouTube channel, if anyone wants to check it out. Part 2 of that 20-part interview, he said Zecharia Sitchin's first 3 books are very accurate. And he said that Sitchin was a very spiritual man who had a higher dimensional ET watching over him and helping him write his work, too, that higher dimensional ET did. And I was wondering, well, how could Sitchin have been accurate if he was a reptilian disinformer? I asked Andrew Bartzis that very question when I met Andrew Bartzis at the metaphysics conference, Return to Atlantis conference in Sarasota, Florida. And I asked him that, and he said, no, what those whistleblowers said is wrong. Sitchin was accurate. When you write the book, you create the timeline. And he explained that those 2 whistleblowers and probably some other people who have said that Zecharia Sitchin was a fraud have been duped because they have been put on an alternate timeline by timeline watchers who have the ability to implant disinformation in our reality by, among other things, making people think they were on an alternate timeline. And they made Arizona Wilder and Leo Zagami think that they were on some alternate timeline, which made them think that Sitchin was a fraud. And hey, folks, I wish the world wasn't this crazy. But like it or not, that apparently is how reality works. So we know that Sitchin was not a fraud. We know Nibiru does not exist. We know that, Nibiru does exist. Pardon me, Nibiru does exist. There's a race of Anunnaki on there, and by the way, the Anunnaki, that term, those who from the heavens came to earth, that actually refers to a hodgepodge of different extraterrestrial races who are the children of a universal geneticist entity known as Anu. And the Anunnaki from Nibiru, who are one of many different extraterrestrial races on Nibiru, according to Andromeda Council contactee Tolek, they did actually come to Earth about 480, not 450,000. Sitchin was wrong there. It was 480,000 years ago, actually, on a mission to create gold, and they eventually, about 300,000 years ago, I believe it was, they decided to create humans. There was a mutiny. The Anunnaki, the rank-and-file Anunnaki worker, they rebelled and said, we don't like these deplorable conditions, we're tired of it, and we don't want to do this anymore. And so they decided that they were going to combine Anunnaki DNA with Homo erectus DNA to create the Homo sapien that they used as a slave species to mine gold. And by the way, the gold was not supposed to be used to shield the atmosphere in Nibiru. Sitchin was mistaken about that one. It was actually to bring entities to Earth. And the Anunnaki, they were actually lured to Earth by some higher dimensional ET race. Don't know exactly who, don't remember who Bartzis said. But again, this is, well, you know what, it's in part 2 of the that 20-part interview he did, but I recommend listening to the whole entire 20-part series, even if it takes you a few weeks to do it. It's definitely worth it. Our galactic history is explained that in great detail. Would like to explain galactic history on this show, but Ray Kosulandich, for some reason, is not in. Boy, this is definitely not normal. So, what other race can we talk about here? Well, let's see. There's Cyclops people. I wonder if this is where the legend of the Cyclops came from. They're called the one-eyed people. They're very friendly. Excuse me, folks. Still have some mucus in my throat from that cold I had. They are very friendly, despite their somewhat frightening appearance, some might say. A little creepy having a one-eyed monster in front of you. And they're very intelligent, and they're from the fourth dimension. Some people thought the Cyclops was a was just something people envisioned from elephant bones that were, or mastodon or mammoth bones that were dug up in the area around Greece, and where the trunk was, it looked like a one-eyed socket. But maybe these Cyclops people are actually what those legends come from. Let's see, what are some other races here? There's monk people. Yeah, they look like monks, but then again, I bet it has nothing to do with Christianity. None of these extraterrestrial races follow any religion, because they understand they're all children of the Creator and they're all infinite. Even the malevolent ones do that, know that. Also pictures of their ships and all. And okay, what other races here? Sorry for stalling, folks. It's just that I'm not exactly sure what particular order I want to do these extraterrestrials. Some of these are from other planets, some from other dimensions. Some are time travelers, Ray's talked about. And these blue-eyed people love our planet, can float. And here's one, the orange people. Some of the ET races that you saw in the bar scene of Star Wars, they were actually real aliens. It's truth under the guise of fiction. And a lot of Hollywood movies are. And the Star Wars aliens, like Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace movie, the first movie, not the episode 4 one in 1977. This was the year, I don't know what year the episode one was, like 1996 or something like that, where Darth Maul, the malevolent Sith warrior in that show, in that movie, he had a ring of thorns around his head, and those thorns, they resemble an exact race of malevolent reptilian alien. So says Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa in his Reptilian Agenda interview with David Icke that David Icke did with him in around 1998 or so. And well, the point is, these orange people, they from a galaxy far away. Very perfect. I talk about Star Wars, and it says galaxy far away. Ray Kosulandich says they love our bread. He says that's about some aliens, about whether or not they love our bread or not. I wonder why he decided to say that. Their ship is shaped like a donut, sort of, these orange people, so that might explain why they love bread. Just getting there, what their ship looks like probably has nothing to do with what food they like. But these worm people, that'll probably freak out a few people seeing the green glowing people that float off the ground. They look like a ghost. Oh boy, this is not normal. He's not even there to reply. Okay, here's one race that he said was not particularly friendly. The snake people. 6 feet tall, pale skin, 3 fingers, not good. Yeah, this is one of the malevolent races. They are called snake people. Well, I think it's because they have their hat looks sort of like a coiled up snake, and they have an antenna on the side of their head. And here's another one, the praying mantis people. They are not good. They are malevolent. Well, then again, all species of aliens are not either strictly good or bad. There's a hodgepodge of them. There's not all reptilians are evil. Not all mantis people are evil. Not all Nordics are good. It's a yin-yang balance of sorts. And it says from a higher from another, well, not a higher, from another. Bad aliens like the Greys and the reptilians and maybe these mantis people. George Kavaslis says that they come from the second dimension, but they impose their will under the guise of lower fourth dimensional entities, which that would sort of resonate with what a lot of people said about how the Greys and the reptilians, they come from the lower fourth dimension. Well, no, they don't. That's just what they masquerade as. The next alien here is obviously the reptilian. I already talked about that, though. Don't need to talk about it. But this next alien group, known as the feline race, George Kavaslis, in my interview with him, he talked about aliens that were of a feline race, and they are from the ninth dimension. Oh, it must be really, really lovely up there in the ninth dimension. They love our bread. Do they love our milk? They're felines. As George Cavazos said, that these feline races, there is a lot of evidence for them in antiquity in the form of certain groups of aliens, certain group that look like cats that are found all over the world, and he did highlight a few specific parts of the world where they were. I don't remember who. That was in my in both my interviews, my private session and my Blog Talk Radio interview that I did with him. If you want to check it out. And here's what appears to be a really creepy alien, but they're actually good, monster-looking people. They're rather friendly. They look like a striped prison suit, almond-shaped eyes, a really creepy-looking mouth. Looks sort of like a ghost, but apparently they're really nice. So looks can be deceiving. That's especially true of extraterrestrials. And, well, folks, I may have to call this a show in the next 5 minutes. I don't know where Ray is at, but oh man, I hope he's all right. So, but I'll try to cover a couple more just for the sake of conversation for all those people that are listening. The hairy people, another ugly but friendly race. They do look kind of creepy. Their spaceship has a triangle on it. That's an Illuminati symbol. No, not necessarily. That's not Illuminati at all. Don't let that fool you. That's what everybody says. You see a symbol like that, it means it's the Illuminati. No, the Illuminati, they twisted and distorted the symbols, so it means something that it is not, that it isn't. And, well, folks, if I do actually postpone this show, I will simply put myself on mute and wait until Ray calls in. But I may have to tell him, look, we got to postpone this show because I can't do this like this. You're telling me you're going to be there, and then all of a sudden I'm not there. Let me just take one quick look here to see if maybe I didn't give him the right time. Wednesday? No, he should. I'll be there for you. He wrote that. It's a shame he's not here yet. Something unexpected must have happened to him. We'll get to the bottom of it anyway, but until then, I'm going to cover a couple more ET races here. Oh, here's some time travelers. The Egyptian type people. They have Egyptian-like clothing on from a galaxy far away, watching us for years. And I remember Ray saying that they are time travelers. And I'd like to talk to him about that if he's on, about why how time travel works in regards to the aliens watching us and how timeline manipulation happens. I discussed some of that with Andrew Bishago, but do want to talk about it from an ET contactee perspective. Here's another somewhat malevolent ET race that is of concern. The spacesuit people. They like our planet a lot. The light flashes inside their helmet while they are talking to you. They do look like that stereotypical spacesuit type person that you would see in movies like The Day the Earth Stood Still, or the early version, not the modern, newer version. And you did say something about them having a malevolent agenda of sorts. And one other race here I'm going to mention, the little dwarf people from the 7th and the 8th dimensions. They have bases here, and they live underground and in trees on their planet. Like, I remember Andrew Bartz is saying in one of his recent talks that elves and dwarves, yeah, they do exist, and gnomes too. They all have their own, they exist because everything that we can think exists, and there's a reason we think it, and that's why it does exist, and there's a reason we think it. So I'm just going in a circle here, sorry folks, but the point is the fact that these ET races some of these look like stereotypical things that we see in movies and fairy tales in this case. It just goes to show you that thoughts really do manifest, and there is truth to what you see in so many ways, even if it does appear to be imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge, as Albert Einstein would say. Marcianne, I see her in the chat room. I'm glad to have you, but I may have to cancel this show because, well, Ray told me he'd be there, but he has not answered my Facebook message, and I wonder. So this may have to get canceled within the next few minutes, but until then, I'm just going to scroll down this list of ET races that he's got here. See if there's anything I could say about them. Silver metallic people from another galaxy, triangle-shaped head, but appear to have angels' wings. That's something they could mistake for Illuminati symbolism. And here's looks like a Jedi. The star people with black pants and X vest, hood and cape. X vest, I wonder what that means, but that's what it says. And they have an unusual weapon that they wear. It looks like maybe it's a Jedi lightsaber or something. Who knows? I don't know. But I'd like to talk about what that weapon is that they have. If Ray was on, the little white pale humanoids, 4 feet tall, childlike, large blue eyes. Yeah, that's something you might see in a children's book. You might envision. And the ant people. There's a lot of stuff about the ant people from the American Southwest, and they're friendly. They acted very friendly towards the people in those cultures, the Hopi Indians and such, who said that they affected their life. And wow, this is not good. Ray, where are you? If only. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. Out of my control. They say you should always come prepared with a backup plan, but when your guest tells you, I will definitely be there for you, and then there's no backup plan, there's a problem. But I have no reason I would need one. But here's an ET race that's worth talking about, sort of. The 3-inch people, 3-inch people, only 3 inches tall. They have a helmet, a translucent circular helmet around their head. Another thing you might see aliens in the movies, like Gazoo, for example, from the Flintstones. This is not a green alien, but he is one of those where you might envision with a circular. Well, actually, it's not a glass ball; it's just a regular helmet around his head. But here's another group of Greys, the Greys from the planet Serpo, the more stereotypical almond-shaped eyes aliens, and the elephant people. These elephant people, they are 10 feet tall, highly intelligent, from the 13th dimension. So how many dimensions are there, and what is a dimension? That's another area of research that many people do not quite understand, and also the difference between dimension and density. There's the Nordic star people, very beautiful and very strong. They don't blink. They like us a lot. They love our bread and our donuts. Triangular spacecraft. So those are Nordic star people spacecraft, perhaps. Those triangle ones that have a blinking red light in the middle and 3 green lights around it. Many people have seen those. I wonder what those are. Maybe they're Nordic spacecraft after all. I already talked about the Orion Greys, and that's almost the time traveler, called Neil, from the year 2035. So is he from a positive or a negative timeline? And seahorse people, 2 to 10 feet tall, from the 23rd planet in our solar system or some other solar system. Oh, well, folks, I regret to say that I'm going to have to put my show to an end there, kind of out of ideas. And again, no backup plan, because my guest told me he would be there. So I'll try to get him on sometime before my guest next week. Next week, I'm supposed to have Carmen Bolcher on, talk about Egypt and its antiquity and its past and all the rest of it. And how we've been lied to about the technology there and the technology that they actually used to build those pyramids and what the pyramids were. They were not tombs. Not that mainstream science will tell you that, and mainstream archaeology, but that's what they weren't. And, well, unfortunately, folks, now that I've said that, I'm going to have to put myself on mute. The show is still going to be rolling, and if Ray does come on, I guess I'll get the show back on. And since I archive all this, I'll put it up on YouTube if that happens. But as of now, namaste, folks. I'm going to put myself on mute. Hopefully Ray will respond and call in. He knew he should have been here. Hello, area code's 314. Who's this?
Hey, Andrew, it's Ray, Kosulandich.
Oh, how you doing? I've had the show on mute for a while because I didn't know you were. I didn't know if you were not calling in.
I thought it was
hoping
7 o'clock my time.
No, I said 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. We thought we were an hour ahead of you. That's why. Otherwise, I was set for actually 5 o'clock. But anyway, I'm here, so we still got a show.
Yeah, I guess we'll still do this. I would like to give you a full 2 hours, if possible. Is there any way I'm not available tomorrow, but maybe on Friday or Saturday, I can give you what time we lost in this show?
Yeah, whatever's fine.
Okay, I guess we'll do it that way. So, well, I guess starting off with, you are an ET contactee.
Correct.
And I'd like you to give a little bit of your life story here. I don't think we really need to talk too much about the ET races. There are some specific ones I do want to talk about, but most of the races you already talked about in your interviews with Elizabeth Mulligan and Alfred Weber, so I don't really know if that's too much necessary. But there are for you to discuss. But before we do that, I do want to talk about some of the experiences you've had and when you started having them. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I could tell you from how it started and everything. It really started with my late grandfather in Yugoslavia, and he was a lumberjack. And he would sit on this stump. My grandmother would give him like 5 sandwiches, and he'd have his coffee. And out of the woods came this little 12-inch dwarf, and they would talk. He would give him one of his sandwiches. The main reason for this 12-inch dwarf, the message that he gave my late grandfather, was he told him that one of his sons, which was my dad, and one of his grandsons, which was me, would meet many star people. Everybody calls them aliens, but anyway. This was all planned out. I came into the picture. My dad was implanted 5 years old, but I came in the picture at 12 years old in 1959. I grew up in a town called Dogtown. My dad had a 4-family flat, and every Saturday morning I would go across the street because back in my day everything was built good. They had these enormous street lights, and I used to love to hear the ping off these lights, and I had 2 big boulders to break it. And it was always a Saturday morning. But anyway, it was a beautiful day, and I was throwing little pebbles at this street light, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw this metallic ball, a little bit bigger than a basketball, moving real slow, no sound. It came over me about 30 feet. Little kid, 12 years old, I was going to throw the rock. This thing would fall and break in half. This is a little 12 years old talking. When I went to step back, I saw these little windows with these little figures. These guys are now what I call my Fab Four. They're part of them. They're the 3-inch humanoids from the 5th and 7th dimension. So anyway, I'm out there. They shine a beam of light on me. I was out there for about 45 minutes. It was like a little parking lot, and it was this first house, and this object went up over the house, down, and shot straight up and disappeared. So I ran into the house. My mom's cooking breakfast. My dad's sitting at the table, and he had this pad that he always writes on. And I'm drawing what I'm seeing. And my dad's jumping up and down, yelling all kinds of big words. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. I'm 12 years old. He said, "Where'd you see this?" And I said, "Out in the front." Before I could say any more, my dad flew out the front. My mom followed him. That was the only time my mom was ever in our life with the Star people. So I got him back into the house. My mom went back to cooking breakfast. My dad says, "I want you to tell me everything you know." So I looked at my dad and I said, "Well, if I tell you everything, Dad, the reason I was out there, I was trying to break the street light. I want you to kick my ass." He kind of laughed at that. My dad's old country ways. He didn't believe in God. He's 8th grade education, but my dad's real smart. He knew he wasn't alone no more. He had somebody to console with and go meet these star people. Everything was telepathic. From this message that my late grandfather got from this 12-inch dwarf, we never knew who we were going to meet, what the craft would look like or anything. So I didn't realize that night we were actually going to go meet the star people. So what my dad did, he went grocery shopping. He thought more of his wife than E.T. He bought all the groceries, 2 loaves of bread, and then we went. So we went to this area, the car died, and we see this giant flying saucer, and they're coming to get us, and we're walking up to the flying saucer. We get inside. They put me in one room, my dad in another room. I'm 12 years old. I'm scared as hell, crying. I'm on this metal table, and they're scraping me, taking semen, whatever, from me, and I'm sure my dad's going through the same thing. When I looked up at the ceiling, I seen this yellow blanket light coming down, and it just hugged my body. I could move my head and my feet. It was real sticky. I was trying to punch my arms through it, and I couldn't do it. I kind of figured my dad was going through the same thing. After they were done with us, they put us in this room. Back in my day, we had black and white TV. We didn't have color TV. Here comes this beautiful color TV floating in front of me and my dad. It showed Hitler, showed the wars, showed our beautiful planet totally on fire. I'm only 12 years old. My dad's asking questions. Did the sun fall? We have war with you guys. They're not saying nothing. This is all an education as we go through this to figure out what's going on, what they're trying to tell us. And so anyway, we're getting ready to leave with these Serpo Grays coming out of the craft, which are part of my Fab Four. Now, I'm 12 years old. My dad's, a lot bigger than me, everything. We're bent over right away. Our noses are bleeding super bad. It's not even hitting the ground. It's like a necklace. It's actually going up into the next nostril because we're kind of hitting ourselves in the chest. We're looking at each other like we thought we were going to die right there. Now, these people were coming through dimensions, galaxies to get here, and you got magnetic fields, you got radiation. So when our nose stopped bleeding, these Serpo Grays are walking us back to the car. So we get in the car, we watch them walk in and get into the craft and take off. When I turned around to the back seat, I saw everything was there but the 2 loaves of bread. That's when I grabbed my dad by his arm and I said, Daddy, everything's here, but they took the bread. Excuse me. So that kind of lit something up in this little 12-year-old's brain. Now, me and my dad, the car starts, we're going back to the place where we live in Dogtown. We go in the backyard, that's where we would meet. And I was looking up at my dad, and I go, Daddy, next time we meet the star people, we bring bread. Well, my dad laughed. The second time we went to meet him, he took 5 loaves of bread. The third time we went to meet him, he took 7. My dad didn't laugh no more. We never had any missing time. We always knew what was said, what was going on. I met a total of 32 star people, 28 good, 4 bad. And out of that 28 came my, what I call my Fab Four today. They're not the Beatles. They've been friends of mine for over 50 years. That's how long I've been in this. I meet these guys every 2 months for vital information. They're showing me past, present, future videos. I have my meetings the first Monday of the month. I have to get this information out. Whatever's said to me, I log everything down in my notebooks. When I go meet them and my car dies, I look at my watch right away. So if we'll just play a game, it's really in the wee hours of the morning, but it's almost 6 o'clock here. So when I leave them, I would try to find a quick trip or a clock that would give me the idea how long I was on that craft. And I logged the date and time and everything like that. But we went to meet this group. Like I said, we didn't know what the craft would look like and what these people would look like. We're in this weird-looking craft, and these 6 giant one-eyed cyclops people, that's what they're called. I'm 12 years old. I met these guys 2 more times later on when I was older. But I'm crying and screaming. They got us circled. And the leader picks me up at one hand, brings me up close to his eye, And all I could feel was warmth and love. These people are real brilliant. They're real friendly. And they talk telepathically. And that's when we heard, we are your friends. We're not here to harm you. We're here for information. And what a lot of them were saying, mostly the same thing of all the ones we met. I'll get into that. We need to stop the nuclear power plants, anything nuclear, stop the wars. We need to turn everything around. Because back in my day, we didn't spray them gardens. Today we spray everything. We're killing ourselves in the long run, 20 years. And you know we're trying to turn everything around. I always remember what I'm about to say about the tiny ones down on this planet. We were on this craft with giant ant people, 6 to 7 feet tall. And the leaders have wings. And they talk telepathically, saying we are your friends, we're not here. They were kind of with the same message. Had different messages later on when I was older.
Oh, right. Just want to interrupt you there. We do have a caller in the queue. I might as well let him on the show. And by the way, since you're talking about the extraterrestrial races, I'd like to, you don't have to really tell me your life story in regards to the specific races, because there are some specific questions I would like to discuss with you that are not necessarily specific to those ET races, but we'll try to get some of your other experiences in. But right now, I might as well take this caller. All right, area code 757. You are on the air. Introduce yourself. Where you're from.
Yeah, I'm just listening to the show. That's all.
All right. Catch you around later. All right, Ray. Thanks for telling us about what happened to you. By the way, before we do that, I found out that Blog Talk Radio, you can go past your scheduled time. So if you want to do this show, I did schedule it 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, but if you, I can do, I suppose 6 to 8:45 p.m. Eastern, because it was about 45 after the hour when you called in. Are you willing to stick around until then? I can give you the full 2 hours, so we don't have to worry about doing this at a later date.
I'm yours until the end, Andrew. So I'm sorry about being late. I was never late for a show. I just thought it was a different time for me at Central Time, but. No, I'm here for you. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay, I'm glad you're able to stick around. Just have to find a way to delete the first 45 minutes, most of which I was on mute because I was about to, on the verge of ending it, but I'm very glad you called in. But some things I do want to talk about here. Let's start with right with a bang, the 2017 consciousness shift. Now, a lot of people would hear that and say, oh my God, we've been down this road before. Just give me a minute here to elaborate on some examples. In the early 90s, David Icke, Ian Zell-Lungold, and Greg Braden, they all talked about how by the 2012 end of the Mayan calendar date, the Earth would start spinning in the opposite direction in conjunction with a consciousness shift. Well, that did not happen. And George Kavaslis, you know what he said about Earth in the 2012 Mayan calendar end date would right itself on its axis, and up until the 2013 spring equinox, then we would ascend into 5D. Well, that did not happen. Alex Collier, he said that in December 3rd, or around in 2013, December 3rd, he gave an exact date. It was either 3rd or the 13th, but then by that time we would ascend into a higher dimension or density of consciousness. Well, that did not happen. And of course, Andromeda Council contactee Tolek, he said January 2014 we would ascend into a higher dimension of consciousness. Well, that did not happen. Well, the simple answer to the question of why were all those people wrong is because we are not on that timeline, and that's especially true of Alex Collier and Tolek, because they're ET contacts. They go follow a different set of time than we do. So, hey, don't blame Tolek for all of his past wrong predictions. It's not his fault. His ET contacts just were looking at a different timeline. So for all those skeptics who are hearing this stuff about 2017 shift and saying, oh my God, let's not go on this again, could you perhaps give us some assurance that no, this is going to be different?
Yes, Andrew, just listen. Tolek's a real good friend of mine. And I actually talked to Tolek about what my guy said. Here's the thing that everybody has to remember. Two things. Us humans are used to a date and a time. The star people do not like to use dates and a time because, kind of what you were saying, things happen. It doesn't happen on that date. When contact happens down here, it will be an event with the star people. We have an asteroid that's coming towards our planet. It's not going to hit our planet. If this happens, it would come by Mars and planet Earth. It would cause magnetic earthquakes. This would cause an event for contact. Other than the things that you were saying, I know the people you're talking about. When I had my meeting a couple months ago, about every 2 months I have meetings with them, they come on my TV. My TV's off. They give me information like line 40S. That means Highway 40 south. I get in my car. I go. I see the craft. The code is they blink their lights twice. The next exit's mine. Now to get back to this 2017, it is a major year for us humans. In my 50 years, personally, I think it is the year for contact for everybody. Not me. I've met these people. I know they're real. I had a gal that drew these down to the T. I stayed with her. This is what these people really look like. This is who they are, and the ones that didn't give us are, who they were. I put down a hairy creature, whatever I could say for this thing. But other than that, whatever they said they were, that's what they were, and I put that down in there. But when I had this meeting, matter of fact, I just I had Tolik and Alfred Weber on my meeting on Skype November 3rd. Prior to that, we did a round table that I created with Laura Eisenhower, Tolik, Alfred Weber, myself, Elizabeth Diamond, T.J. Morris. And I did 4 shows with the people that hosted from my apartment in Hawaii, Janet and her husband, Sasha Lessing. Anyway, when I got this information from my Fab Four about, it was the first time they've ever used the year, ever. They don't like to even do that. But they were saying to me that 2017 is a major year for us humans. I let Tolik know this. Tolik, about a week ago, he went to his drama council and came back to me, and we talked, and he said, my guys said everything that your guys said about the year 2017 was accurate. Now I just started my first class with this gal by the name of Shell Dion. She grew up with Bigfoot for years. What amazed me is she said, Bigfoot, these are not creatures, these are humans. Talked about the year 2017, but used the word taken. So when I was talking to Shell, she kind of come up with the same conclusion. Are they meaning they're going to take some of us with them? And she kind of agreed with me. Now, we're in 2014. I know about all the people that said what they said. You can't blame Tolik. You can't blame somebody. I'm a messenger just like all these people. I have to get the information out that they want. That's what I do. Okay? Now, as we're going through this, there's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of unbelievable changes, big-time earthquakes. There's not one human on this planet that's going to get killed. The Andromeda Council has put this planet in slow motion so nobody gets killed or hurt. It's our time to evolve like we're supposed to as humans. This was supposed to happen 368 years ago. You're probably talking the 1600s. As we go through turning from a 3D carbon to a 4D crystallized entity, we're going to look human, we're going to be taller, we're going to be healthier, there's not going to be any disease. I have Agent Orange, prostate cancer, borderline diabetic, compliments of the United States Army, okay, back in 67, 69. I get this Lupron shot every 6 months. It keeps me alive. It's a real potent shot. But anyway, and as we get into 2015, 16, all the way up to that year, and I think the American people ain't stupid. You know, we got people down here playing God with our lives. We got people down here trying to kill us. There's 7 billion people on this planet. They want to control 500 million planet-wise. We're not even in the picture. But I can tell you this, Andrew. All the good star people are going to start intervening in everything. If they, and you know what I'm talking about, pull the grids on us, my guys will throw their satellites out. We'll only be down for 3 hours. We got crafts that are clothed around this planet right now. All these beings that I met have underground bases down here on planet Earth. These people are programmed and ready for what they're supposed to do. When ET comes down, it won't be for a day. They're going to be teaching us new technologies. We're going to be working side by side with these people. When all that is said and done, many good ones will come. And, you know, I got 28 friends out there. They're not just my friends. They're the people on this planet's friends. Then you got the Silver Allegiant. Then you got Tolik's Andromeda Console, 12 planets. The Andromeda Console, I'm just speaking for a little bit for Tolik, can't wait for visitation. There's a giant craft out there. Everybody been hearing about this Comet Ison. It's got 5,000 crew aboard, 30 different races. I asked my guys if our cousins are on this craft, and they said yes. Our cousins are supposed to be chunky, and they're actually on Mars, too, they were telling me. But there's going to be 2 giant flying saucers the size of cities. They're part of Tolik's Andromeda Console planets, I think from the planet Kela, back in January 2011, because the reptilians and the Orion Greys, especially the reptilians, have been controlling this planet. And the star people, they have treaties. Some treaties are broken. They were telling the reptilians and Orion Greys they can't be doing what they're doing. It's going to stop. Well, back in January 2011, these Procyons, I think I'm saying them right, with these good, I never met them, vegetarian reptilians that knew the weakness of the Hydro and Draco reptilians and the Orion Greys that had bases down here. They shot a sonic blast that blew up a lot of the underground bases, killed a lot of the Orion Greys and reptilians. Most of them went back to their planet. The only thing that the good ETs were worried about, it caused a 5.0 earthquake, and they were afraid some of our humans might have got killed. But it's going to be an event for this giant craft to come down here for contact. When that happens, and we're going to get close into this major year 2017, this is all programmed by the star people. They'll be wearing something over their mouth to talk to the Spanish people, the Chinese, all the languages. They're going to let us know everything. These people are going to be working with us. We're going to be doing solar and all kinds. This is going to be the most beautiful planet Earth ever. I've been to the planet Serpil 3 times, once with my late father, twice by myself. And these people were vegetarians. When we were on a craft, this was in 1959, I was 12 years old. We're looking around, and it's like this wires around the craft and these real vines. So we're sitting in these colored chairs. We would pick up little things from each one, and they have these handprints. They're real different the way they're set into the desk there, flight of craft, whatever. Each one had a different thing. And I noticed this gray took this vine and stuck it in the side of his hand. That's when I touched my dad. And I said, Dad, he's feeding himself. These little things we would pick up. And but when I was getting ready to talk about the giant ant people, we got tiny ants down here. You know, I met the cat people, the worm people. There's a mountain in Peru. It's got a giant chimpanzee and a giant bird. You can only see it from above. So me and my dad, we were getting educated through this, and we came up with the year 1800 in Colorado. This is what we came up with. That the giant ones came down here to tell the tiny ones the purpose of what their purpose is to do here. You can look into the Hopi Indians and the giant ants. They actually, all these people are masters of the underground, even on their planets. They fed these Hopi Indians. They helped these Hopi Indians. These insects and hideous-looking people that I met, and the Nordiques that look like us, these Nordiques are down here. You can put a pair of jeans and a T-shirt. You wouldn't even know. The only way you're going to tell a Nordique is his eyes don't blink. These people are great friends of mine. The other ones, part of my Fab Four, we got elephants down here. These are the elephant people. They're from the 13th and 14th dimension. They're super, super smart. They're real friendly. They speak our language and other languages, so do the Nordiques. My little 3-inch guys, if you had like 3 balloons and you blew them up and blew it in your lungs, you know how high pitch you would sound. That's the way they sound. My name's Raymond, or Ray. They call me Raymond. These guys made some of the crop circles. It takes them about 7 to 10 seconds. But they have the power to shrink you to their size, 3 inches. As much as these guys want me to go to their planet, and don't think I don't want to go because it would be the neatest. These are the people I wish everybody on this planet would meet. It's like being in a cartoon, but it's real. I got a cat named Jerry Lee, and if I came back 3 inches tall, my cat would probably be chasing me around my apartment trying to kill me and eat me. But the Nordiques, and that's something I'm looking into. If they ever want me to go to their planet, I would go there for the education to learn what these people have and learn different things. I would definitely do that. You know, this has been my life for 50 years. It's been the greatest education that me and my late father ever had. You don't go to school for this. We were blessed. We were chosen people. We didn't ask for this. This was all planned out. I went about 7 months ago face-to-face with the Nordiques and the elephant people because they kind of take charge. And I said, are you guys almost done with me? And their exact words were, Raymond, you're the one. So it let me know that these people are still going to be in my life for the rest of my life. And Andrew, all I do is get this information out for them. They've never lied to me. They've never taken me or my late father away or killed us. These guys have been my friends for over 50 years. You know, everybody out there, you know, we're human. It's so easy to say these things, you know, why didn't he take a camera and give it? People don't realize how hard it is to get evidence. They don't care if we take pictures of their crafts. And, you know, I don't want to lose their trust. These guys have been my friends for over, 50 years. I'm working on a deal with 4 people that I want to set up a meeting where these people can actually, I touch and hug these people. These people come from all kinds of dimensions and galaxies. Their crafts are super clean. You're still talking germs. I got sick about 6 months ago because of, the radiation, the magnetic field, all this stuff.
Well, wait, can I stop you right there? Because since you mentioned radiation, in my interview with Alfred Weber, he said that one of the reasons we are supposed to have a consciousness shift in 2017 It's actually for our survival. We talked about how Fukushima is a global extinction event, and if anything, that would be the number one reason why the ETs are going to go through such great lengths to make sure we have a consciousness shift. Can you confirm that that's the case?
Oh, yeah, because they talked about this in the beginning when we met them. Stop the nuclear power plants. Remember Chernobyl? You just said Fukushima. Stop anything nuclear. That's why these people down here on our planet see these crafts going around military bases, anything nuclear. I don't know what year it was. They went over to NORAD, the big steel doors with the nuclear missiles. They lifted these off and put them on the ground, melted the warheads, took some of them with them, went over to Russia and did the same damn thing. These people are watchers. Every one of these people I met are watchers and protectors of this planet. There's these warriors, these guys with the like Mohawk ray gun, laser rifle. They're ugly-looking guys. They are protectors of the universe and planet Earth. They work like the Silver Legion. They're protectors of the universe and planet Earth. I did a show with Tanat on September 7th, Silver Legion. We got so much. There's 300 worlds. You know, I'm a ex-General Motors auto worker, retired union. I use the word union, Electric Federation Union, that are out there, that are our friends. That's going to play a big part. I don't know how many star people are really out there, okay? But the education I got, the people, the hideous star people, the insects, the list goes on. These are watchers and protectors of this planet. People down here at planet Earth, some of them are already seen my orange people, seen the monk people, seen the one-eyed cyclops people. These people are real. I just can't draw. I met a gal by the name of Jenny Blankenship. She's a healer and spiritual Indian. She's actually spoke at my meetings. She drew these people. She's a great artist. This is what I was searching for. Just like when I started, it was all me and God, trying to find the right people to tell my story to. Somebody don't think I would be nuts or bullshit. I'm a straight shooter. I was given great morals from two great parents, to be a fighter, to stand up. I didn't know what was going to happen to me through this as I grew up.
Right. I need to stop right there. We have another caller in the queue. I want to see if they want to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. Area code 312. You got a question for Ray? How you doing? Introduce yourself. Where are you from? Is area code 302 just listening? I guess they are. All right, second time that's happened today. But I do want to stick with the whole thing about a consciousness shift for a moment. The thing about money changes happening, I remember Tolik saying in his interviews with Alfred Weber that during the consciousness shift there would be like a 10-year or so transition period in regards to money. And recently, Greg Prescott. Okay, and then Greg Prescott of In5D.com, he recently uploaded an article talking about how Karen Hughes, that World Bank whistleblower, she said that we are supposed to move to a gold-backed currency or just gold as a currency. But the thing is, even that has its issues because even there, where there's no interest, it's backed by gold. The problem is we're still using money. And, well, if you're in the fourth dimension, as Tolik has said, or the fourth density, whatever you want to call it, there is no money. But he said you'd still have to work, but you wouldn't work for money. You'd work for other things. So this whole thing about money changes and specifically how gold factors into how we're going to be using money. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I agree with Tolik. Okay. Tolik is a major player like me. So is Alfred Weber. So is Laura Eisenhower. In 10 years, I would say between 10 and 11 years, there will be no money as we know it. We're going to be like the star people, Andrew, whether you or the people that are listening to the show or people on this planet believe We're going to start using energy and goods to trade like ET. That's what our future is going to be down here. This is going to be the most beautiful planet ever, like never before. You know, when they had this war back in 2011, you know, I was talking about this Procyon people and the good vegetarian reptilians. The reptilians, all the bad people that come here, and I'm using the reptilians too, want to control or eliminate humanity here. And what they did, they poisoned our water, our food. Our frequency was so low between Mars, Moon, and planet Earth. We used 14% of our brain. We were controlled. There's only 250 reptilians on this planet. As we go from 3D to a fourth-dimensional being, we're multi-beings. We're really important. They won't even be able to touch us. They will disappear and go back to their Hydro-Draco planets. The Illuminati, the Cabal, the people that are kind of in charge down here know that they have to change. They got two options. To either go to the Hydro-Draco planets and never come back here ever, or go along with what we're going to go through. The Star people are going to make sure we go through this smooth. They're going to make sure we go through this. We're going to make it. There's going to be a lot of changes down here. You're going to have the right people.
Okay, well, I want to talk about those changes for a moment because I've listened to some conflicting information. First of all, this ties in with the whole debate between what dimension and density is, and I'll get to that in a minute. But when I was at a Metaphysics and Consciousness conference in Los Angeles, the N5D City of Angels conference last January, I had the chance of speaking with Bashar. Daryl Anka, of course, is the human medium that Bashar, the ET, will communicate with. And I asked him, now that Mother Earth has turned into a fourth-dimensional planet, as people like Tolek and Franco de Nicola have said, when will it be possible for humanity to ascend into the fourth dimension where we'll have like crystalline bodies and be able to reproduce without sex and all the other great things that come with the fourth dimension? But you know what Bashar said? He said, you already are in the fourth dimension because you exist in 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. You will remain in physicality for about another 1,000 years. In that time, you will move between different densities. He said you can think of a dimension as a country and densities as different states within that country. Well, the issue with this is Bashar's definition of dimension is like the mainstream science definition of dimension, like 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. And other people have used dimension as meaning, no, it's not like that. What dimension you are in ties in with service to self. Like the Greys and the Reptilians, George Kavaslis has said that they are second dimensional entities, but they impose their will under the guise of lower fourth dimensional entities. And when I asked Alfred Weber, well, how is that possible? He said, well, a dimension, what dimension you are in determines to what extent you are service to self or service to others. So that's how that is the case. Well, the issue of what is the difference between dimension and density, that's the first question. But then after that, could you maybe say anything about what Bashar was talking about when he said you will remain in physicality for about another 1,000 years, moving in and out of different densities in that time?
The only thing I can say, because I never met this person that you're talking about, I go by what my people say, and, you know, what the Andromeda Council, Tolek's people are saying. You know, I've even had this question with some of the people in my meeting Monday. You know, people want to stay third dimensional and stay here. To stay third dimensional and stay here, it ain't going to happen. To do that, there's going to be planets for them people to go to. But what I want to make it clear is everybody will become fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional. When you get into sixth dimension, you're a completely different creature. There is no bad. It's all good. I don't know what kind of creature we will be. As far as what this entity you're talking about was saying, you know, I go with my gut, I go with God, and I go with what these people are that are friends that are going to help everybody down on this planet, teach us new technologies like never before. It's our time to evolve. There's 12 planets out there right now that use our DNA. That's how important the human being is. We're a main player in this. It's time for us to evolve. How we go through this, everybody's going to go through it. The ones that are very spiritual, highly loving and everything, when it happens, it will happen quicker for them. There's a lot of people down here that have a lot of negativity in them. It's going to take them a while. You got people down here that, all of us, I speak for all the speakers, that love us, hate us, could care less. There's people on this planet that don't know what the hell's going on. Everything's been controlled. We've been lied to, things have been taken away from us. We're going to get all these answers. Everybody on this planet has relations out there, whether you believe it or not. You look at the races that are down here now. We all came from somewhere, and we're going to find out who they are. This is the process and the programming of these people, the technology and the smartness that they have over a human. It's unreal. This is so massive. We're humans. We do human things. That's what we do.
Well, yeah, you say that. You say that we're human, we do human things. Well, that leads into the next question I was asking. I mean, I hate to sound like a pessimist, but Jordan Maxwell. Okay, well, Jordan Maxwell, you know what he said? He said, humans are like the animals that graze by the river on the African savanna, just waiting for the lions to pounce on them. And even though the beasts and other animals that are grazing by the river outnumber the lions and other predators like 1,000 to 1, maybe in some cases, they just all run away screaming like crazy in panic and all. And he says humans are like that. I mean, in the classic example of that, the Orson Welles War of the Worlds radio broadcast, where there was chaos in the streets because people believed that, and a lot of people would hear you say there's going to be disclosure, and we're going to have that again. And also, you have to understand, Ray, I have said this a lot on my show, and I hate to say it, but then again, I love to say it because it's something that will make me famous but infamous, but yet it's true, and I'm going to say it again because it's very fitting for this situation. I mean, people say, how can the government keep secrets like extraterrestrial cover-ups and such? Well, the fact of the matter is the vast majority of significant government secrets have been exposed by whistleblowers, conspiracy theorists, and investigative journalists, but the problem is that a very significant percentage of the common people who make up the general public on planet Earth are so paradigmatic, so fearful, and so flat-out stupid that they will refuse to believe something shocking or disturbing, even if the evidence shows that they have no choice but to believe it. And a lot of people, like Jordan Maxwell, who realize that, will say, oh my God, how can we have a consciousness shift when people are so lost in a trance? How can we possibly let there be UFOs landing on Earth in big motherships when everybody would just run away screaming? I mean, Mark Matika, in my recent interview with him, he said the reason humans are paradigmatic, fearful, and stupid is because ETs genetically engineered us that way so they can keep us in line to use us as a slave species. Well, that probably is true, but with that being said, how can we ascend when we're so lost and can't handle the truth?
It's going to happen. Here's the thing you got to remember, too, Andrew. I love everything you're saying, okay? We'll just do that. They tried it twice. They're going to do it again for disclosure. All I'm going to tell you is when disclosure comes and they admit that ET is real, that's just the beginning, Andrew. There's so much hidden from us between Roswell and everything else that has been lied to. They're going to live with the lie. When ET comes down here, they're going to go along with everything. They're working with the bad ones. You got people just like that guy you were just talking about. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody can say what they want. I don't cut nobody down. There's people, you can go to my part 1 and part 2 life story and the drawings and read the bad comments. That's all these people have to do. But all these people are going to wake up. I'm not worried. I was blessed. My late father was blessed. My grandfather was blessed to meet this 12-inch dwarf. The people that we met. We didn't ask for this. We were chosen. This was all planned out. 3 generations. I got educated big time. I had my human life, and I still do. But I'm fighting for 2 people, my late grandfather my father, and the people on this planet. And the people on this planet are going to see a lot of changes like never before. I'm not here to bullshit people. You know, I was educated through this. I was an ex-GI. I've seen what happened to us. It's always our kids that die for this country. It's never their kids. We make this country what it is. This is the greatest country in the world. And I don't mean that to sound like a veteran hero here. I'm talking like an average normal human being. And I'll do these shows. I'll do wherever this is going to take me. I have no idea where it's going to go for me. I'm not in it for fame and fortune. I'm in it for two late people that are gone from my life and the people on this planet. That's what I'm doing this for. That's what I do these shows for. And I take on anything that comes my way. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody can cut me down. It doesn't mean nothing to me. I'm here for the rights of the rights, not the wrongs of the wrongs. We got too many people, too much power. You know the family names. When you can control everything, and I mean everything, there's a time when all that stops, and it's coming, and there's going to be the changes of that. And all the people that can say what they want to say to cut down this and cut down that. I know, and I heard of Alex Collar, David Wilcox. When I was, getting into this, a guy by the name of Joe Palermo, he's a great friend of mine. He's a chief UFO investigator in MUFON. All I did was ask him to check out these people. Me and Tolik use the word confirmation. We're like little kids. When we hear things like Alex Collar, David Wilcox, a guy by the name of Dan Scher, they were saying things our star people were saying. Joe, check this out, And he goes, Ray, there's something here. I'll tell you this much, too, where I got confirmation with Joe and the guy that owns UFOHub.net. He's a real good friend of mine. They were bugging the hell out of me, saying, Ray, is there any way you could talk to your Fab 4 and have a craft come up in the air where we can video it? So in the meeting I went to, I think it was August 21st, on a Thursday, 1:05 in the morning, after they were giving me the information, my Fab 4, I had asked them, I said, I got two friends that are bugging the hell out of me. They want to know if you'll fly a craft up in the air so they can videotape it and get it on camera. Now, this is what they said. Where all your animals are, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I said, you talking about the St. Louis Zoo? And Nordique said, yeah. We'll have a scout ship over there. And your village of Fergie, well, everybody knows about Ferguson, and I asked them, is that what you mean, Ferguson? They said, yeah. They were going to send 2 scout ships there. Now, when I left, this is the wee hours of the morning, it was me, Joe, and Ed, and the guy that owns UFOHub.net. We got together that Thursday night anyway, and I said, you guys are on. 2 days after, which would be Saturday, when the sun goes down, they're going to have a craft over to St. Louis Zoo and 2 scouts over Ferguson. So I took them to where I grew up, Dogtown, and this Turtle Park, which is right by Highway 40, because across from Highway 40 is the zoo, and you can see this big stone word, the zoo. And they had east, west, north. They had it perfect with their cameras forward and backwards to catch whatever this craft was. I was doing a show in my apartment from Hawaii from 6 to about 8:30, 8:15. After it was over, I was kind of curious to see if my guys caught anything, so I called Joe on his cell phone. When I called, I could hear Edna yelling, tell Ray to get off the phone. They showed up when I called. They got it on video. Right there was confirmation. And, these people have been my friends. They're not phony. These people are coming to help us like never before. And everybody's going to see this. Everybody's going to meet them. The other thing I want to say, starting in November, the month we're in now, there will be many UFOs over Missouri, all over, more than ever. The reason is to kind of ease the panic, to let these people see all these different crafts as we're going through from 2014 all the way up to that major year for humans, 2017. There's a lot. Alfred's even talking about it. This Mary gal, I can't think of her name. There's a lot of people talking about that year. As a contactee, over 50 years, personally, I said it earlier in your show, I really think that's the year for contact for everybody down here. But it's going to be an event that causes it. It's not going to be a date or a time. They don't play with that stuff. You know, we're humans. We're used to a date and a time. And
okay, well, I want to talk about humanity, when that ascension of consciousness will be and what has to be done. A couple of points I want to make. Alex Collier has recently said, one recently, but many times in recent times, that he doesn't believe timelines are relevant anymore because everything is dependent on human consciousness, and there's also a little debate in that regard as to what extent humans are awake. Andrew Bartzis, Akashic Records reader, he said that about 18% of humanity is awake. And by the way, he said that there's more than 7 billion people on Earth. There's actually more like 50 billion, but that's not the official number. And further, in regards to awake, I do seem to recall Tolik recently saying in one of his interviews, I think it may have been a roundtable discussion, as a matter of fact, you did with him, that he said his contacts tell him that about 50% of humanity is awake, and it's now gotten over to 64% since his interviews with Alfred Weber. Now, that raises the question of, well, what do you mean by awake? Because the percentage differences there tell us that people have different views on what awake actually means.
I heard that too. I listened to that. Are you talking about the Mars Roundup?
Yeah, I did listen to that entire thing.
Yeah.
I listened to that.
Yeah, speaking of that, that's where we got it, because me and my dad, remind me of Flight 19 Avenger pilots that were missing in 1945. But we thought the year was 1945 when our guys were using teleportation. I was off. It was 1943. Whether the people know it or not, we have military bases on Mars, underground bases. They're working with some of the bad ETs up there. I think my frog people on the north side of Mars are up there because there's snow and in the winter up in the northern part, from what I hear. I've never been on Mars, but this ex-Marine by the name of Randy Kramer, I listened to that Mars Roundup. He was supposed to be a whistleblower and get a lot of this information out anyway. They've been using teleportation for years. They also have a craft that can go to Mars from planet Earth in 90 minutes. I don't know what it looks like. That's a thing in the future that's coming for everybody, that we're going to be doing that. There's going to be a lot of changes down here, even traveling. Everything's going to change. When we get into the money system that's gone, and we're trading for energy and goods, going into 4D and 5D, if you ever seen a movie with Nicolas Cage, knowing the creatures at the end of that movie are kind of what we're going to look like, but human in face. The women will appear 20, 25. The men will appear to look 30, 35. We're going to be healthier. We're not going to eat that much. These are the kind of changes we're going to go through. I mean, look back where all this started from, and now we're in the modern time. Because back in the 50s and 60s, we didn't have the technology we got now. All this technology is alien technology. And, our guys are probably 40 years ahead of us. But we got a lot of good people. We got a lot of major players in this. Alfred Weber, Tolik, Laura Ayers, and myself are major players. These people, these three people I named, are my new idols. All my idols are dead except for Stanton Freeman. These are the people I grew up with back in the day. Adam Ski, Keogh, Ellen Hynek. Ellen Hynek my dad and him were real good friends because they wrote the letters to each other. And I got a chance to go to the planetarium at Forest Park. My dad had 2 tickets to meet Ellen Hynek. I was about 15, 16, I think. And that was an awesome thing I'll live with the rest of my life. He was a great guy, even though he did Project Blue Book and then finally went the other way, the right way. But the people that, I've been meeting, there's a reason for all this. I know that. I heard about these names, Tolik, Alfred Weber, Laura Eisenhower, David Wilcox, Ellis Cobb. The list goes on. But I know there's a reason for me to be real good friends with Alfred and Tolik today, and now Laura Eisenhower, the great-granddaughter of the late President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Because he was doing a lot of good things, and she had to learn a lot from him, and just to listen to her. I had her on that round table I created, the 1st of November, which was it's out there for the people to listen to. It's a great round table. And it's a simulation like we went to Washington, D.C. for disclosure. Now, in real life, if I had Laura Eisenhower, Tolik and Alfred, myself, I would go with them people, the American people down here on planet Earth. These are the real deal. These are major players. Things would get done, not just disclosure. There's a lot of whistleblowers everywhere out there on things. A lot of people are dead. You got to remember, Andrew, the people that hold the power down here can do anything they want. But the people that do the things that they want always have to remember they're going to get it too. And I don't think they realize that. So when you have the power, you have a lot of things working your way. You only got a few families that are in charge. Like I said earlier, not this moment or tomorrow. You're going to see a lot of changes with the right things down here.
It's definitely going to be the right things because we are in a positive timeline, not a negative one. I mean, the negative ones do exist, but we are not on them at that moment. But one thing I do want to discuss, maybe you can settle a debate here. Let's imagine for a moment we were on a negative timeline and things did take a turn for the worse. What would they do to us? Well, I do remember you mentioning earlier in this talk that 500,000 humans they want to control. It says that on the Georgia Guidestones. I'm sure that's what you're referencing.
500 million, not 500,000.
Okay, well...
million.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you. It does say 500 million. Thank you for correcting me that. However, there is a little bit of a debate here as to whether or not the malevolent ET forces actually want to depopulate the Earth. It has been said by others that rather than depopulating us, they would prefer not to kill us. Instead, they would prefer to microchip us so they can take away our free will, or more specifically, I should say, change our free will so that we use our free will for malevolent purposes so they can use humanity as foot soldiers or knights, so to speak, in a cosmic war machine. Because you have to understand, they are a galactic empire, these reptilians are, and the other archontic forces, so they'd rather not kill us, they'd rather take away our free will to use it for bad purposes, to use as soldiers in a galactic empire. I mean, is there any truth to that?
No, it's just what's been controlled. Always remember I said it. The bad ones want to come down and control, eliminate humanity. Or control it. You kind of said it. To be a chip. This is what. Is that your phone?
Ray?
Is that your phone? Oh, never mind. Anyway, no, it's, the American people, I'll use the 7 billion on this planet. I don't know what it really is, but that's what a lot of people have been using. All the consciousness of this planet, the power that we have, the will, the goodwill of the people, it's the people that are going to make a difference with the star people. They told me that if anything, these people are, have an underground base. These people are programmed and ready. If there's anything like an Armageddon, There will be two safe havens on the left and the right that everybody will see to go into. They will come and take some of us off this planet. There won't be one human touch. This is what I was told. These people have a lot of power. You think you've seen UFOs here and there? People have no idea how many beyond fleets each one of these different entities that are programmed and ready to do their thing, that the people running the show down here are just going to go with it because there's nothing they can do. Just like this Planet X. Planet X is 3 times bigger than planet Earth. This planet is supposed to come between the sun and our planet. We would get the tail end of this, but before I go any further on that, I will say this much. The star people will intervene to divert this planet from doing the damage that everybody was talking about to begin with. Our guys wouldn't be able to blow this planet up or anything like that. The power will come from ET, the good ones. They're prepared for everything. Everything is programmed. Everything is set. And I just get the information out. I'm a messenger. I'm not God. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm your average Joe. But I've been educated, and I met some great people. I met some hideous-looking people, but these people are real, and they're down here, and a lot of them are walking amongst us. These star women I met from another galaxy, you put a blouse and a pair of jeans. They got slanted eyes. They're beautiful women. Their eyes are slanted all the way back, but you wouldn't know it because as you're going through everyday life, the people, we're occupied enough to, we don't have the time for that. The way everything is down here now, you got 2 people working instead of 1, but things are going to change. It's going to be a better life, Everything we're talking about, Andrew, I'm not here to cut it down. I'm just telling you the information I get, what is said to me, and what I believe in, other than God. These people talk about the Creator, that He's number 1. You got the great ones. You got the Silver Allegiant. There's barriers in outer space. The great ones control. The only ones that get to go through the outer barriers of outer space are the Silver Allegiant. They're the only ones. You got bad star people in that area. The good outweighs the bad out there. You got good and bad down here. You got good and bad out there. These reptilians, these Hydro Draco, really bad, I got another word for them, have a possible chance of changing. Here's what their agenda was. The entire Milky Way, there's 20 planets similar to, looking like us, only got different color hair, different color skin. And planet Earth, we would have all been reptilians, but you can thank God for the Procyon Total Drama Council, the good vegetarian reptilians that shot that sonic blast 2011, January, February, blew up all them reptilian Orion Gray bases, but the rest of them went back to their Hydro Draco planets. There's only 250 down here left. They don't have the power that they have. We're going, our frequency's starting to get into whether we're at 4D and getting up to 5D.
Oh, right. Hold that for a moment. I got another caller in the queue. See if they want to ask you a question. Area code 612. You are on the air. Welcome. Introduce yourself. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Diamond. Hello, Andrew Fisher, my friend, and Ray, my friend. How are you guys?
How you doing, Elizabeth?
Glad to hear from you. I don't know if you got that message I sent you on Facebook, but I'm sure if you did, you would have figured out that Ray was 45 minutes late. But let's just let bygones be bygones and forget about that. Thanks to Blog Talk Radio not ending at their scheduled stream time ending time. I still have another hour to go. We'll still have them on till 8:45 p.m. Eastern. But anyway, Elizabeth, it's great to have you on. And hey, I'd love to have that roundtable discussion you wanted to try to have us arrange. So if you want to bring that up just quickly, go right ahead. But, hey, say what you want to say.
All right. Well, the reason I'm here, I saw your message that Ray was not there, and I'm glad to see that Ray got there. Yes, me and Andrew are arranging a roundtable discussion with lots of astounding people that you'll know, and we want to surprise you, but we'll let you know beforehand, and everybody will be on time. I'm kidding you, Ray. But really astounding. Me and Andrew, people are grouping together, and that's, we're coming into unity now, and yes, I'll let you proceed with all the great information, and that'll be upcoming. Me and Andrew will be posting that in the near future. Thanks, Andrew and Ray, and love you guys.
Thanks for calling just to make sure I was okay. Yeah, that was really nice and generous of you, Elizabeth. And I didn't listen to your interview with Ray that you did, but I did make reference to it because I'm sure it's very informative and did specifically cover a lot of those 32 ET races, even better than Alfred Weber probably did, and that was a shorter interview, so I'm sure you went into much greater detail. So thanks for doing that. I'll make sure to tell people about it.
Sure. You're welcome, dear. Oh, can I just mention the roundtable we just did with all the Tolek, Laura Eisenhower, Ray, and the others? You can find that on the Diamonds blog, Diamonds with an S, forever, 31.blogspot.com. So go do your good work, Andrew. Love you.
Love you too, Ray. Elizabeth. Take care.
You got to love her, Andrew.
Yeah, she is a fascinating woman. Did meet her at the metaphysics conference that I was at in Sarasota, and was on her show twice, let her on my show as well. Actually, I'd like to move on to another subject here. I guess since we've got maybe about a little less than an hour left, we might spend a little time talking about some specifics of those ET races. One ET race that you did not have on your out of your list of 32, yet you did mention the term Anunnaki. Now, there seems to be a lot of debate over what this term means, and I'd like to ask you that you give me just a couple minutes to discuss this issue. George Kavaslis explained to me, and Alfred Weber's made it clear that he goes by this definition of Anunnaki. It refers to a hodgepodge of different extraterrestrial races, both malevolent and benevolent, who are the children of a universal geneticist entity known as Anu. And the Anunnaki that Zecharia Sitchin talked about, they do exist, and Nibiru does exist. And I found that out from Andrew Bartzis, the Akashic Records reader, who said that Zecharia Sitchin's first three books are very accurate. He said that Sitchin's fourth book onward, there's a lot of timelines that came together on Earth, and Sitchin screwed them up, which caused his fourth book onward to be inaccurate. But his first three books, for the most part, are right, except, first of all, the Anunnaki were lured to Earth. They didn't come on a mission. Second of all, the gold was used to bring entities to Earth. It was not to shield the atmosphere of Nibiru. And they came to Earth about 480,000 years ago, not 450,000 years ago. But the issue with this is, a lot of people have been told that Zecharia Sitchin was a fraud, and even Alfred Weber was told by some people that Zecharia Sitchin was a disinfo agent and such, who worked for the CIA and the Illuminati. I mean, Leo Zagami, 33rd degree Freemason turned whistleblower, said Sitchin was a disinformation agent, and Arizona Wilder, an Illuminati mind-controlled slave, said that Sitchin was a reptilian alien who had the job of disinforming humanity about the reptilians and the Anunnaki. She said that in David Icke's Revelations of a Mother Goddess documentary. And when I had the chance to meet Andrew Bartzis, I asked him, could you please explain to me how Zecharia Sitchin could have been accurate if he was literally and figuratively a reptilian disinformer? And Bartzis told me that all that stuff about Sitchin being a disinfo agent is fraud. Yes, I am saying Alfred Weber, David Icke, and other people who fell for this have been duped, because those people who said that Sitchin was a fraud, they were tricked by timeline watcher entities who caused them to think that they were on an alternate timeline, which made them spew out disinformation about Sitchin being a disinfo agent. I wish life wasn't this complicated, but that's how reality works, and that's how we know that Sitchin was not a fraud, that Nibiru does exist, and the Anunnaki were on it. But yet I noticed that those Anunnaki from Nibiru are not one of the 32 ET races that you met, and that does seem kind of head-scratching, because they genetically engineered us as a slave species by combining their DNA and Homo erectus DNA. So with this being said, can you maybe explain why you haven't met the Anunnaki, and do you know anything about them that you could elaborate on?
Kind of what you were just talking about. No, I never met them. And if I did, they would have been in here. This was programmed for, it had to be a number 32. I didn't make this number up. These are the people I met. No, I heard about the Anunnaki and all that, the Illuminati, the Cabal, the whole bit. I never met none of these people, okay? That's the only thing I say about that, and I don't know if you'll let me throw this in. I did mention about Flight 19, 5 Avenger pilots. Can I talk about that for a second or not?
Yeah, you could talk about that.
Yeah, it was bugging me and my late father. We had asked my Fat Four, are these guys dead? Now, I wasn't there, but this is what they said. They're alive in another Earth-like planet. Now, these guys were taken in 1945. I'm not talking about the ones that went out to rescue to find them that were missing. We were just concerned about the 5 Avenger pilots. It made sense as a human when you're going through time in outer space, and forget your watch because it ain't going to do you no good. The molecules and everything in a human going through time. And these guys on this planet, Earth-like planet, would be the same way they were in 1945 to live thousands and thousands of years, just the way they were taken. If they were to come back here, their nails would probably hit the end of my apartment. They would shrivel up and die. And what I'm getting into this is E.T. talks about us being mutants. And the reason they're saying this, we're in the sun a lot. The cells that die, that give us old age, today, supposedly our top scientists are trying to reverse these cells that would be our immortality. The immortality of a Nordic is 1,800 years. The immortality of a Serpo Gray is 350 years. These people have mastered the immortality of their races. I don't know what the lifespan is on all 32, but I'm just giving you the ones that gave me the information. It's an education to understand. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You just use common sense will get you your answers. Just like these people that, I heard of these people you mentioned, and, these other entities, Anunnaki and all that. I never met them. I heard the stories growing up. This was my family, my late grandfather and my dad. These people were old country ways. My dad was 8th grade education when he started his life as a family and going through, I was an entrepreneur at 13 years old. I didn't realize it. But it's the education that these star people have given us. And if I had to do it all over again, Andrew, I'd do it. I wish everybody could have an hour to meet and go through what me and my late father went through. But eventually everybody will meet these people, and there will be many more good ones that they will meet. People can think what they want, but we all got a heart and a brain, and we all got that curiosity. All this is going to happen. It's beyond my control, but it's going to be done the right way with the right people, the good ones, not the bad ones. That's what they do. They come down here and control. Anunnaki, what was before them, after them, and then you got the reptilians.
Well, actually, I do want to elaborate on that for a moment, because in his interview with Alfred Weber, Tolek, he did acknowledge, there is a planet Nibiru, and he did say the Anunnaki come from it. He also said that there was a period of time where, before the end of the Mayan calendar end date, in order to prevent a Nibiru flyby from happening, the Andromeda Council did move Nibiru out of its normal 3,600-year elliptical orbit to keep the flyby from happening. But that's just a side issue. That's not the reason I'm bringing this up. What I am trying to address is that Tolek did say that the Anunnaki from Nibiru, they are the extraterrestrials at the top of the Illuminati ladder of authority. A lot of people would find that confusing because most people would think that it's the reptilian aliens that are at the top of the Illuminati ladder of authority. Well, George Kavassilas did tell me in my interview with him that the Anunnaki and the reptilian aliens, the Draco reptilians, they did interbreed during the time of ancient Sumeria. Zachariah Sitchin didn't say anything about reptilian aliens in his work, but there is evidence that that happened. And the Anunnaki by themselves, the ones from Nibiru, Barbara Marciniak, they actually do have some Pleiadian reptilian in them. But with that being said, the whole issue of the Anunnaki being the one from Nibiru being the top of the Illuminati ladder of authority, why would they be considered the ones at the top and not the Draco and the Hydro reptilians?
I've been hearing everything you're saying, and Tolik and everybody else saying that too. That's what everybody's sticking with, through time, through biblical times and all that. When we all grew up, you were a little kid too, Andrew, we were lied to. A lot of things were taken away from us, And as I went through this other life, I'm getting a lot of the answers that were taken away from us, even from the Bible, that we weren't supposed to see. We're going to know everything, even about the Illuminati, everything. But for them to be what they are and other entities that they are, I don't know. I hear this too. I even heard it from Tolik. I'm not here to cut Tolik down. We're human beings. We get information. We get it out. He gets information, he gets it out. We're doing our job, Andrew. We're messengers. And I make sure in my meetings, I meet my staff for every 2 months, whatever information they give me, I don't hold back. It's up to the people. Just like they told me to tell my people, 6 cases of water, everything battery operated, canned goods, blankets. If the grids go down by you-know-who, so I figure 7 days a human being can live without water and food, they'll die. But if they're preparing us just in case, and if it does happen, I said it earlier, they're going to shoot their satellites out. The grids only be down for 3 hours. These people got a lot of power. Sure, our people are 40 years ahead of our people with technology that they got from the bad ETs that they're using on us and other things that they want to do. They can change the weather. They can change a tornado to reduce population, to set up things. Just like 9/11. The only reason I'm going to say that is that it pissed everybody off. Everybody wanted to grab a gun and go after them. I lost a lot of friends over there. It was people from St. Louis that died in there. A lot of electricians and laborers. But I'm an ex-GI. I knew what it was when I went in there. There's no war, it's a picnic. When these kids coming home today with no arms and no legs, that didn't happen back in my time. We didn't have women fighting and dying. All that stuff's going to change the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, I want to talk about some of the specific extraterrestrial races now. One thing I want to talk about, the Egyptian people that you mentioned. I believe you said that they are time travelers. They're probably not the only time travelers, but you did emphasize that. What I'm kind of interested in knowing is the specific ETs out of the 32, the Egyptian people and the others that time travel. There's also this one specific extraterrestrial who was like from the year 2030. I don't remember what his name is. I don't really want to take time to
2035, his name was Neil. I met him once.
Okay, but these time traveler extraterrestrials, how do they travel through time, and how can they manipulate timelines to make sure that our timeline works well and that the timeline they originally came from will work on a positive timeline? Could you maybe elaborate on the whole issue of specific ETs that time travel and why they time travel and how they time travel?
Well, they actually come in crash, but they can bend time. There's so much beyond us that these people can do. The biblical people back in the year 2000, or 2,000 years ago. They're dressed just like they were back in the day. It's amazing to meet people like this. The last one I met was the sea horse people. We got tiny ones in the ocean. Their planet, they're from the 23rd planet. Their planet was dying. They're 40 to 50,000 light years of planet Earth. I was supposed to meet them again. I never did. I don't know if they made it, But there was a reason between the biblical people, Neil from the year 2035, that's us. I met him once, flying in a triangle craft. He was coming here for body parts, something they messed up on the DNA. He wouldn't say anymore. That was the last time I seen him. I met the sea horse people once. The biblical people, I met them 3 times. But it was information, and the last part of the information for the ones I met more than once was the changes that are coming, what we needed to do. They were going to be here to help us. These biblical people have bases down here. All these drawings, 32, they're all real. The 28 good ones. The 4 bad ones are the reptilians, the praying mantis, the Orion Greys, and these guys in silver suits, that they were there for bad information. They don't care if we make it. All 32 participated in our lives for information. So I want you to understand that.
Okay.
All I can do is what I do, just like I'm doing on this show, is give you the information or who you pick out in here of one of the 32 and tell you what was said, how they came from here, what they can do.
Okay, there was one race of gray that I'm kind of interested in that is not on your list, or maybe it is, and I don't know. It's kind of interesting. The Orion Greys. Here's the deal with the Malevolent Alien Alliance. Alex Collier has said the hierarchy. You could put the Draco Reptilians at the top, and then below that you would have the Orion Greys, and then below that he claims are Zeta Reticuli Greys, and I can't help but wonder if that ties in with the work of Bob Lazar, but he claims that they are Malevolent Greys. Alex Collier does, the ones from Zeta Reticuli. And there's another group of Greys that you have that you do have here called Greys from the planet Serpo. What star system is Serpo from? I'm assuming it's not Zeta Reticuli, but could you maybe clear up the confusion here in regards to the Zeta Greys and the Serpo Greys?
Serpo Greys are different. They're from the planet Serpo. They have nothing to do with them Greys you just said. Veda Trick. I can't say the word.
Zeta Reticuli.
The Orion Greys, they're also in here. They're one of the bad 4. They're always with the reptilians, Hydro Draco. I've also heard there's worser reptilians than the Hydro Draco. I was also told there is 6 to 8 feet tall giant bees that are real friendly. Jason Cordova, I met him at Debbie Zingemeier's meeting. She's the Missouri director of MUFON on a board of directors. His great-grandmother, this is back in the day in Colorado, she saw a giant 6-foot grasshopper in her yard. What I'm trying to say here is we have tiny ones. The bees are our food supply. And you know who almost wiped out our food supply. I don't have to mention the corporation's name, but anyway. We got tiny, tiny insects down here. These insects I met are 6 and 7 feet tall. It's an education to know and to be educated from the giant ones to the tiny ones we have down here. And you use common sense as you're going through this. You get your answers. Well, you also get the help from them. They're all friendly. They're here to help us. They're not here to destroy us. The good ones don't come down here to destroy this planet. These people are protectors and watchers of this planet. They've been doing this for way before we were here and cavemen and whatever. There was giants down here. It's our time to evolve as humans like it should have been 368 years ago. We're going to go through this process. It's not to scare anybody. It's going to be a better life for everybody.
Well, wait, but Ray, let's shift gears for a moment. You mentioned that we should have had a consciousness shift like 380 years ago. I do remember you saying that in some of your previous interviews I watched. Okay, what time period was that, and can you elaborate on why the consciousness shift did not happen at that time?
Because the way that the bad ones intervened at that time, which it should have went, it didn't. I mean, I wasn't there. This is the education I was told through my Fab Four, the Good Star people. And, I get that information out. And why it didn't happen, I don't know. I wasn't there when all this took place. But the knowledge, the education I got, the time is now for humans, human people, to evolve. And that's what we're going to do. We're doing it. There are changes. There is a frequency. You're feeling it. Your consciousness. It's all there. It's all going to happen. It all sounds like beyond a fairy tale when I give this information out. But look what we grew up with. Me and my late father used to laugh. Just about everybody grew up with Star Trek. Going to meet E.T. E.T. was coming to meet my late father. We were chosen. We were chosen for a reason. I think they chose the right people, just like Tolik.
Okay, but I want to ask you, Ray, did it ever concern you that talking about the stuff you talk about, how we're going to have a consciousness shift soon, did you ever feel concerned that people will hear that and they'll just take the couch potato attitude towards it and say, well, I don't have to do anything because we're going to ascend into a higher dimension or density of consciousness in the coming years? I mean, do you ever worry that people are going to have an attitude like that just because they hear you say we're all going to be saved?
No. But the American people ain't stupid. They're getting educated. They were lied to. All these predictions of this is going to happen. I'm not here as a predictor. I'm here as giving information out, doing my job like I'm supposed to. And like I said earlier, we're not perfect. We're not going to think the same way. Okay? The time is coming. People will prepare themselves. People will prepare their families. We have to do everything as an individual. You know this, Andrew. If we don't do it, we're only hurting ourselves. And for the ones that do are the ones that are going to gain. And, I could speak to 100 people. Everybody ain't going to be on the same page. It's a wake-up call for all of us, It's our time now. We want to enjoy this trip as we go through it. And everybody's going to see this. Everybody's going to feel it.
Oh, Ray, I wanted, since you mentioned it's our time now, speaking of our time, maybe you could help up clear a little confusion in regards to the way that ETs perceive time. It's been said that, well, the ETs, they obviously do have a different sense of time than we do. For them, time does not exist. They realize time is an illusion, and they've been able to live their life as if time is an illusion. Well, the problem is some people would say that doesn't make sense because, as Tolik explained in a video that he uploaded to his YouTube channel in the not-too-distant past, 75 years of Earth time is equivalent to 1 day for his Andromeda Council contacts. Well, someone would hear that and say, well, how can you say the ETs don't have a sense of time? They obviously do have a sense of time. It's just completely different than ours because 75 years for us is a day to them, so they obviously do follow time. So just for the gentleman...
It is different. It's way different. I agree there, Andrew. I agree with that. Yeah, it is. To say ET and humans are on the same time, we'd be lying. Everything is different. We as humans are adjusted to dates and times. We're not adjusted to events. ET is adjusted to events. An event causes contact. That 5,000 crew craft I'm talking about, as an orb light, it goes to all the worlds for visitation contact, not just Earth. There's other planets, not just planet Earth, that are going through the same changes we're going to go through. It's all going to happen. We're not alone. And but to say that everything ET and humans are in the same pattern, no, it's all different. It's an education I got. I'd be first one to tell you. I wouldn't lie to you. And
okay.
Totally saying it in a way that the Andromeda Council, these people have meetings every day out there. Okay? These people are concerned. They can't wait for visitation down here. But they know it's going to cause an event for it to happen. They just can't come down here and say, here it is. The bad ones can. That's what's been messing this planet up.
One thing I do want to ask about, the brown dwarf that's orbiting between Earth and Venus that Tolek talked about in his interviews with Alfred Weber. I believe he did say that when we ascend, that brown dwarf and its planet Nihohe will, I don't know if the planet will be visible to the naked eye, but the brown dwarf will. Can you confirm that around maybe 2017 we will be able to see that brown dwarf in the sky?
That's very possible, yeah.
Okay. Getting back to your ET races, one group that you didn't say is one of the bad ones, but maybe they're not strictly malevolent, but the snake people.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about them. Are they really malevolent, or are they like a so-so in regards to malevolent and benevolent?
They're so-so. They don't look like snakes, and they have a snake emblem on their uniform. They got huge purple eyes. They have a snake-like wrap around their head. They have an actual antenna that's built into their hat, whatever. They weren't bad. They didn't really care either way. They were there for information, like everybody that participated. And it was an education to learn about this different entity. And, it was a friendly conversation. It was nothing negative. But, yeah, these people exist. This is what they are, because they don't look like snakes. That's out of my hands. We ask where they're from. They either tell us, the dimension, 12th, 9th, 8th, 4th, or just dimension or galaxy, and find out who they are or what they are. And they either say who they are, or if they don't, then I have to, like the hairy people, that's the name I gave them, because they didn't tell me what they were. They told me where they were from, or the dimension, me and my late father. Now it's all me, but and I wrote all that down. The craft, you got to understand, these crafts that are on these drawings look small. They're humongous. They're the most beautiful crafts lit up at night, like the one-eyed cyclops, a giant egg-shaped, beautiful orange colors like we have nothing like on our crafts. It's unreal. And to meet these kind of people, when we first met them, we thought they were going to tear the hell out of us. I'm being honest, it's a human being. I was 12 years old, crying and screaming. But when this cyclops picked me up with one hand, put me close to that big eye, the warmth and love that I felt, and to hear these people, these creatures, talk telepathically saying, we are your friends, we are not here to harm you. My God, did the warmth and love come in our bodies then?
Well, I'm sure it did, and but I will want to say one thing, that Mark Matika, in my interview with him, he gets his information from Barbara Marciniak. He said that while the ETs are very benevolent, he said that the ETs actually find it quite hilarious, and this is an example he used, like when they watch sports like the NFL and Major League Baseball and basketball, he said that the ETs find it hilarious that they pay humans millions of dollars to chase a ball around, and people will gather by the thousands to watch that and let that distract them from other things in life, and also act like they don't understand that those games are rigged when they so obviously are. I mean, can you say anything about that the ETs would actually laugh at us, that's the kind of stuff that we do here on Earth?
No, the only ones that I would ever think that happened would be the bad ones. No, I don't really believe that, especially on the good ones. I would say that's a lot of garbage there, especially the ones I met. All 28 good ones. out of the 32.
Okay. One race that's benevolent that I want to elaborate on, because I spoke about this with George Kavaslis in my interview with him in my private session, actually, the cat people. He did talk about how you have to understand it's not just greys and reptilians that you can find evidence from in the past. He said there is a lot of evidence of a feline race, and I'm assuming he was talking about this ninth dimension cat people race. Could you tell us a little bit about what these cat people have done in our history that makes them so prominent?
Even though I have a cat, they're 9 to 12 feet tall. They're colored blue or brown, and very friendly, very brilliant. The feline you're talking to is a different feline, and I don't know too much. I've heard of this other cat-like race looking, but the cat people I met, no, these people are brilliant. They're friendly. They're a cat. They're a giant cat, but no. Our people don't have to worry about these people are good, and they're just two different colored, all blue, all brown, and they're cat people, and they look just like a cat, only they're 9 to 12 feet tall. It's just been ready. Go ahead.
All right, there's one other race I would like to. Well, we'll talk about more because we got about another 20 minutes or so. The spacesuit people, you say they like our planet, but they are not particularly a benevolent race. They look like your stereotypical alien that you see in the movie walking out of a ship in a spacesuit, like I mentioned before you came on the air, like The Day the Earth Stood Still. It kind of reminds you of that, the early version of the movie. Yeah, I mean...
these guys... go ahead, did you want to say more?
No, you can tell us about these aliens. Tell us about these stereotypical spacesuit aliens that look like what we think aliens would look like.
They're the fourth bad ones. They're guys in silver suits with the antenna. They have a blinking light. They talk telepathically. They don't have a face. And they didn't care less. They were negative if we made it or not. Okay? They weren't there to harm us. They were there for information. And that was the first. They talked telepathically. They let us know right away that, we're here for information and information only. Like I said, this whole thing was set up by this 12-inch dwarf. We were chosen to meet many. My dad made half. In this case, 32. I didn't come up with the number. They did. And but everybody participated. There was fear. The fear was from the reptilians. The praying mantis, I'm going to get this straight. It's got to be in the east or west. My good friend Margie Kay, assistant director of MUFON Kansas City, is actually communicating with a praying mantis. She calls it her manny. These people are supposed to be spiritual and loving, and I'm not saying they're not. The ones we met were bad. They knocked my dad down. I was 12 years old. I kicked one in the shin. I jumped behind my dad. I was trying to stand up for my dad. So I've heard a lot of good things about the praying mantis, but there has to be an east and a west. Just like your reptilians, you got a lot of grays out there. I don't know how many different kinds. The Serpo grays are so friendly. They're brilliant. They're vegetarians.
Well, actually, on that thought, I'd like to clear up a stereotypical attitude about grays. In my interview with John Lear, he talked about, grays, you could think of them as sort of a cross between a robot and a plant. I mean, and you say grays are brilliant. Well, a lot of people say, how could grays be brilliant? They're just like, they basically just take orders and they do their activities without feeling any sense of emotion. Well, you're saying, no, that's only true for certain types of grays. So can you clear up this confusion as to what about this?
Purple grays, yeah. But, I've heard of robotic grays and your bad grays like the Orion grays and other grays that people are seeing. The ones I met, I stand up for the Serpo grays. They are brilliant. They're very friendly. We were taken to their planet 3 times, once with my late father, twice by myself, showing us the gardens, the same kind of gardens we got down here, only different-looking trees. We couldn't go out there. The other thing I want to stress through all this, we're not in spacesuits when we go. We're in T-shirts and jeans. Just like these people that get abducted, they're in what they're in. We're not in an astronaut's spacesuit. We're in T-shirts. We're accepted to everything People are coming from different dimensions, galaxies, radiation, magnetic field. Everything's in there. Okay? I'm a young 66 today. I'm still alive. I'm healthy. This is my life. And I'm getting it out. And the great 28 good ones I met, plus the 4 bad ones. They were
okay,
in our lives.
I want to ask you a question about aliens on other planets. You say they come from other timelines, other dimensions, other galaxies. But one thing, maybe I don't know if you're the right person to ask this, but maybe you are the right person. The whole issue of how planets can sustain life, because it has been said that all those people that use the Drake equation and the Goldilocks zone factor when determining if planets can have life, they're like being too conservative. Because in my interview with John Lear and in my interview with George Cavazos, he did back this up. John Lear explained that, first of all, the sun and stars are not powered by nuclear fusion. They are hot spots on the universal web of electromagnetic energy. And the sun and the stars, they will radiate energy to the planets, which are, so to speak, cold spots on this web of energy. And the planet's atmosphere and its filtering system will convert the sun's energy into some sort of form which will allow for life to exist on the planet, regardless of the planet's size or location. And like even the gas giant planets, they do have life on them because of this filtering system. And hypothetically, if you were to fly a rocket ship from Earth to another planet and just land on it, you don't have to cross dimensions. You will find life there because this filtering system allows for life to exist no matter where the planet is. Can you confirm that is true?
Yeah, I agree to a point. And here's why I say this. The reason people don't see them in our sun daytime, these people are masters of the underground. A lot of these planets have 2 suns. They're not in the sun very long like we are. Okay? Look what we're expected to. Sun's good to a point. It causes cancer. It does a lot of things. That's why they call us mutants. The cells that die to give us old age because we're in the sun a lot. When you reverse them cells that die to give you old age to turn into an ugly, how we turn into when we're old. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Right.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I gotta have a little bit of a debate here with you on this. There is a lot of debate as to what extent sunlight is harmful. I am an avid sun gazer. I have been looking at the sun at high noon ever since June. Even when I'm walking down the street, I sun gaze sunrise, sunset, and even at high noon. My vision has not been hurt, and Andrew Bartz's Akashic Records reader said the sun will not affect your vision if you look at it, contrary to what we're told, because the electromagnetic energy, it's all spiritual. It bypasses your physical and goes right to the brain to neutralize you for the better. And I've also been told from other people that sunburn is not what we're told it is. In fact, Florida, where people are out in the sun the most, has the lowest incidence of skin cancer, and the people that get skin cancer, they actually put too much sunscreen on. So even Mark Matika, in my interview with him, he said that gamma radiation is not what we're told. Gamma radiation coming from the sun actually helps the body, but yet at the same time, I do remember Tolik saying that the ETs did try to block or deflect a solar flare that came from the sun, so that would lead you to believe, okay, there is some harm from the sun. So could you please maybe clear up the confusion here? Is sunlight and sun rays harmful or not?
Yes and no. Through time, a lot of years, yes. But as we're going through from, I'm a sun guy too. I did it many times laying out in the sun. But there's things that we don't understand about the rays and the suns. We're learning that. We're going to learn more about it. Okay, but there's a yes and no on both sides of it. Yeah, but through time, as we're evolving to that ripe old age and adulthood and everything to that point of ripe old age, yeah, there's a lot that there's just so much there. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm just educated through the people that educate me. In this case, the star people. We call them aliens. They don't like the word. You can call them ET. They're star people. They come from the stars. That was the first thing that came out of my mouth at 12 years old, my first encounter with the little 3-inch humanoids. And you get educated, Andrew, and I wish, you could have went, or anybody on this planet could have went through with me and my late father. If you guys did, you wouldn't be asking these questions. When the time comes for contact, nothing against your show or any show. We won't be, even my meetings, we won't be doing this no more. We're going to know everything. We're going to evolve the way it's supposed to have been. And I'm waiting and enjoying the ride as we go through it with everybody on this planet. And for everybody that's negative, because this is not a perfect world. You know that yourself. You got people that love you, hate you. You got to get people that care less. You got people that don't know what the hell's going on. We've been lied to so much. Use your common sense. Go with your heart. And as we go through this, I don't have to say anymore. I'll keep doing these shows. I'll keep getting the information out.
And so will I. I want to talk about one more race. You just mentioned them, the 3-inch people. It says here in your bio of them on the picture, they make crop circles. Could you elaborate on what kind of crop circles they make and why they make them?
They make them for other star people. It takes about 7 to 10 seconds to do it. They're also a reconnaissance team and program, not just my 3-inch humanoids, other ones. They usually fly in a silver ball-like craft, and I think they might have been caught on tape. But you could blink your eye, just like these farmers that look for, when they're making them, or they'll stay up all night. They do it so fast, it's unreal. And it's amazing what they can do. And, I'm not on that craft to see them do it, but it's amazing what they don't make all the crop circles, I want to make a statement on that. But they have the power to shrink you to your side. They have a lot of power. They're really friendly. And if I wanted anybody on this planet to meet any star person, it would be them. You're always laughing. They got you in stitches because they're so high-pitched. I had them on my hat, my shoulder, palm of my hand, floating in front of me. They're in a bubble clear helmet with brown suits. They're the neatest things you want to meet. It's just like being in a cartoon, but it's real. And I can't say anything bad about them, especially the ones that are in my Fab Four. But I get the information out, what they can do, and that's what I get out. I try and find out what each one can do.
Speaking of what each one can do, the star people with wings from another galaxy, it says here they must be around water and sunlight. Now, that's interesting because a lot of people would think that higher dimensional density ETs, they would not need water and sunlight to survive like we do, so why would they need to be around water and sunlight?
I think each entity, I wish I was there to see it, has whatever it is for them. Whether it's an insect, a Nordic kind of human because they look like us. It depends. It depends on the planet, what's there, we have small worms. The worm people. Tolik met my worm people. He got real scared. They are ugly. They are slimy guy. That's what he called them. They're always around water. Okay? The ones down here, you know what happens to them. But everything is different on every planet of whatever and who they are. And that's the only answer I can give you there because I'm not there to see it and why this is why this is that.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it. Not everyone can know everything, I guess. But no offense to you, I understand they're not going to tell you everything, and they can't tell you everything because there's so much to tell. But one thing I am interested here, the little dwarf people from the 7th and 8th dimensions, would I be correct in assuming that these extraterrestrials, the little dwarf people, they are responsible for many of the legends, like from around Europe and even other places regarding elves, dwarves, and all the like?
Yeah, you got, I met this guy, Rich Lenny. Never spoke of fairies. I never seen him. He went with this guy that actually communicates with the 3-inch, we're talking 3-inch again, 3-inch fairies. Rich Lenny, he's going to be in my meeting in February. supposed to bring me some pictures that he took with the wings flying in their little colored clothes. And also there was like hundreds of Bigfoots jumping out of flying saucers. He didn't get close-up faces on them, but he got pictures of them. And I think it was Prince Charles and his wife, this guy that talked to the fairies, took them there, and they actually had the fairies flying all over them, all that. And but I'm waiting for Rich to come because he's going to bring me some pictures, and I'm going to get that out. And if I ever do another show with you, or if you want me to send you one, I'll do that.
Okay, thanks for the offer. I would like to ask you, oh my God, I lost my train of thought, and I was on the picture here. Let's see if we can find it, because I'm scrolling through your ETs trying to see. Oh, yeah, here's one. I was looking at this. The hairy people. I think after Alfred Weber saw this, I believe he said, is this like where Chewbacca came from? I mean, and even some people have said that the ETs that you see during the bar scene at the Mos Eisley spaceport in the 1970s.
That up.
And the issue is, it has been said that the Star Wars movie and other movies are in-your-face disclosure of ET races under the guise of fiction, and the bar scene aliens in the Mos Eisley spaceport, they are to some extent real aliens. And even Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa, who David Icke interviewed, said that the alien Darth Maul from the the episode 1 Phantom Menace Star Wars movie, the spikes around the top of Darth Maul's head, that is a specific layout of a specific species of malevolent reptilian alien. So I guess you could elaborate on the hairy people for a little bit, but I do want to get your take on this whole idea of ETs in the movies that are true ETs under the guise of fiction.
Well, the only thing I understand, some of that is supposed to be true because of what people all over the world have seen, and whoever, was it Bradbury, whoever it was, because he got real stories for creatures that people seen, and he put them in his movie. Yeah, that's there. It's beyond me because my guys are different. But people are seeing some of my guys, monk people, cyclops people, orange people, blue people. I've had this, told to me by certain people, not from my hometown, but it's good confirmation because I talk about these people. These people are in my life, and other people around this world are seeing them. And people will. People will see what you're talking about. Whatever any human on this planet encounters in their life, whether it may be the little people that my grandfather always talked about, the fairies, Bigfoot, whatever. I'm trying to get an answer that I got from my Fab Four when I was talking about Bigfoot, because there are quite a few clans. Matter of fact, I just took my first class. The ones that came from the planet Maleba, it was dying like the Sea people, and they had to come through teleportation with the pyramids on their planet to Mars, Moon, and planet Earth. Supposedly been down here for 500,000 years. I'm trying to get an answer on that from Shell and the clan that she talks to. And once I get the answer, I'll get that out. But anyway, there's so much beyond us that we understand of new species, and like the Bigfoot, it's not new. They've been here for years, but
well, actually, since you mentioned that, I might as well throw it out that Akashic Records creator Andrew Bartzis said that Bigfoot, what we know as Bigfoot, is actually a higher density extraterrestrial entity that is temporarily lowering its density to incarnate as a hairy Bigfoot-like creature on Earth, and the reason they are doing that is to wake up humanity to the fact that paranormal things do actually exist. Would you agree that that is true?
Yeah, to a point, yeah. They can close,
finish your thought on that, but could that possibly be true with the Loch Ness Monster, for example? Could you maybe elaborate on that and Bigfoot again?
Loch Ness, I'm like everybody else. I think it's real. I've never seen it. That's what I was getting at. There's so many unknown things, and the reason for these things. Like I found out the planet Orca is where the dolphins and the whales came from. That's hard to believe, okay? The information I get from these people on some of the animals we have down there that are well-known, just like the races that are down here. I knew we all came from somewhere. I knew we had relations out there, and I got the information. I got the education. It's hard to believe this, but when you look at the people down here, we all had to come from somewhere. And again, Andrew, you got to put this in the back of your head and hold it in your heart. We were lied to by growing up, number one, things taken away, and now we're going to get the answers. And we're looking at some of the things that, these people don't fit in this picture, like Bigfoot or whatever, Loch Ness. But we're learning about something new here. Just like we're learning about ourselves. There's so much to learn. They hate down here. You know what's going on. It's all going to change. And back in my day, 50s and 60s, we didn't have this stuff. But it's the corruption and what's going on down here that, the game's over. It's going to change.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it clear that the game is going to end. Ray, I've given you the full 2 hours, and I am going to have to bring this show to a close now. I'm going to forgive you for being 45 minutes late. It's okay. We got a lot of information out, and it's good. I know Blog Talk Radio will be able to have this up, so I will be able to upload this to YouTube. I'll make sure this gets up to YouTube. And you did mention possibly coming on my show again. Well, with that being said, I'd like to tell you the same thing that I tell all of my guests at the end of the show, and that is that while you are a fascinating individual, and while I know that I could certainly have another show with you because, well, we could go on and on about the 32 ET races, I regret to say that because I am on a mission, and that one of my goals with this show is to try to get as many different people on as possible before I give any one specific guest double dips, because there's a lot of other fascinating folks that deserve some glory on my show. And with that being said, that does mean that I regret to say we'll probably not be asking you to come on because I need to keep getting different people on till, well, I guess till the day when we don't have to be doing shows like this anymore, as you said. But I will make sure that I tell people about your interviews with also Alfred Weber and Elizabeth Diamond, because they went into a lot greater detail than I did in regards to those 32 ET species. So I'll definitely make sure that if I talk about my show with you, I'll definitely reference their shows as well so people will know about those ET races. But it was a pleasure having you on. And with that being said, I guess I'll give you another 90 seconds. Is there any final thoughts you want to say?
Number one, it's an honor and pleasure to be on your show. I really thank you for that. And the only thing I want to say is it's time. It's time for us. The world's going to see it. The world's going to know it. The world's going to live it. And this is what I've been wanting. And I speak for my late grandfather, my late father, and for the people on this planet. This is the job I'm doing. I'm not the only one doing it. But again, Andrew, thanks a million. And I understand where you're coming from, and I don't blame you. But you're a great host, and I appreciate everything you did here. Thanks a million.
You're very welcome, Ray. So without further ado, namaste, and I hope your ET contacts keep giving you good information.
Okay, buddy. Take care.
Take care. Well, folks, next week we're going to, like I said, have Carmen Bolcher on, talk all about Egypt, and all the mysteries that surround it. I'd like to ask her how that documentary, The Pyramid Code, and the 5 parts of it got on the documentary channel. That seemed like something that the powers that be wouldn't want people to see on television. But we'll discuss that and other things about Egypt. So without further ado, namaste, enjoy your trek through our consciousness.